Today we are revisiting an old favorite topic of Disney theme park guest horror stories. And I can't think of anyone better to join us than my DZP roommate and dearest friend, Whitney Wakefield. Hi, Whitney. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
I am bursting to have you here. I feel like that's just like I have so many of my DZP friends that I want to have on here, and I cannot think of a better way to start than with you because I lived with you. We shared room.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And a bathroom.
Yeah,
we shared 3 a.m. like crackhead thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're right.
3 a.m.
Oh my god!
I know you though.
The things that we would say lying in bed staring at the ceiling in the dark at 3 a.m. were
yeah. Good times.
So your normal thoughts, but just later at night.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. I said nothing that I wouldn't have said it at 4 in the afternoon. So.
To anyone's face, yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. All right, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, talk about, how you started to love Disney and your story of getting into the DCP.
Yeah, so thank you for the introduction.
Mm-hmm.
I am, where do I start? I'm a current Dream Key holder. I live in Anaheim, and I'm a former quick service food and beverage cashier on Mainstreet. And then obviously I'm just a lifelong Disney fan. I've been going to the parks basically for my entire life. Like my first visit was when I was 9 months old.
Awesome.
Yeah. My first, the story my family loves to tell is that the first time I met Mickey Mouse, I licked his nose.
Aww.
It's not COVID safe. Thank God it was 1995. But yeah, so that's kind of where I had my humble start. It's always been like a really special place. We went almost yearly when I was a kid. And I guess I made all of my most cherished memories there. And then I think it was like a couple years after college, I moved home. And that same year we took a Disneyland trip. And it had been a couple years since we'd gone at that point, just because I was in college and our focus was just getting me and my sister through college. So we hadn't gone in a while, and I went and I remembered how much I missed it and how much I loved it. And that was August of 2018. So after that trip, I came home. And two things were ringing through my mind. One is I just moved home and I really wanted to leave again because it's so hard to move home after you've lived on your own for so long.
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
Two, I wanted to be able to go to Disneyland every day. I already missed it so much. And so I got back and I think I applied right away. I was I was studying because I was getting another degree at that point. I was studying and then I came across an ad for the DCP and I was like, okay, I haven't thought about this in a few years. So I looked into it more. I did tons of research. I researched both coasts and figured out what I would want to do. And then I decided to apply. I didn't tell anybody that I applied because I was like, they're gonna roast me. I'm literally 24 years old. Who do I think I am? Yeah. So
you were not the oldest there. I want to put that out there. You were not the oldest person in our program. So yeah.
I feel so much better knowing what I know now. Yeah. So I got in for spring of 2019 and then I decided it just wasn't a good time for me. So then I applied again for fall of 2019 and I got in again. So that's kind of what brought me there.
That's awesome. Yeah. Exciting.
Okay, so I got a couple of questions for you, just so we can kind of get to know you a little bit better and your experience. So please do share with the audience what was the role that you wanted the most when you applied for the DCP?
That was a great question. Back then, I was super good at limiting myself, and I was I had tunnel vision. I was just I worked at Target for 2 years. I feel like if I put like my preference as merchandise, they'll be like, yeah, we want her. Which is stupid.
Yeah.
I should have aimed way higher than merchandise, but I was like, yeah, I want merchandise. Didn't even get that. I got quick service food and beverage, which is, I want to go on the record and say, the worst job at the Disneyland Resort.
Wow.
Yeah, remember when I think my first episode ever, Sky asked me, like, we were you talking about like what's it like working there, and I said, my answer was, if you're food and beverage, I do not envy you. This is why. Hearing about your experiences with this particular role is the reason why I say that it is the least favorable role. So please do share.
Yeah, it is tough. I definitely, it was on the very bottom of my list. I think I put like, I don't remember what the terms were, but like least preferred was quick service food and beverage. But I was like, I don't want them to exclude me. I still want to go.
Right.
So that's how that happened.
Yeah. And so you ended up, where was your talk about your location for a sec.
So I got placed on Mainstreet, USA, my favorite place in the entire world, which was a dream come true, TBH. But I was at Coca-Cola Refreshment Corner and Gibson Girl.
Yes,
the best part of Mainstreet,
literally. Our warrior over here. I just talk about your expectations about working on Mainstreet in those two specific locations.
Yeah, so I didn't know what to expect at first. I had never worked in food before and I was terrified. And then obviously like Mainstreet it's so busy. There's really
so popping all the time. Yeah,
exactly. There's not a quiet spot on Mainstreet ever. And then of course, like you have the parades, you have fireworks. Like I was expecting to be stressed and busy. But honestly, like I was ready for some magic and it definitely delivered. Like it's to me, the most iconic land in the park. Like you stroll down Main Street. It's your first view into Disneyland, and then it's your last view of Disneyland as you leave. So I was very excited. I was very excited when I got placed on Main Street, and I knew even though it was going to be busy that it would probably be worth it.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to take you down a more like positive path before we get into the nightmarish end of it, because kind of there was many a night on our couch. Sky, there was many a night of just on our couch staring out the window wondering what's happening with our lives. I still remember most of your horror stories because they were just so, oh my gosh. Oh, just the water cup alone, dude.
I know. Like, I have a whole, let me tell you, I wrote notes, man.
I'm so excited.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. All right. So but first talk about, the more like rewarding moments of working on Mainstreet.
Yes. So again, I love Mainstreet because the energy is just always so good and so happy. So like there were a couple days that I got to like be a greeter outside of Gibson Girl and like trade pins.
That was awesome.
Fun. That's the most desirable role, I think, in that whole quick beverage is greeting. Yeah.
I could do that literally all day. It was so nice. And then another great thing, our first night of training, we did like a walkthrough of Mainstreet after dark. So all of my training shifts, I got off at like 2 a.m. So it was after everyone had left, and I was like holding back tears the whole time because it was just chef's kiss, gorgeous, beautiful. So that was incredible. I definitely will hold those memories forever. And then I think one of my most special kind of things was just everybody that knows me knows that I absolutely love the Dapper Dans so much. And they used to, pre-COVID, they would like perform with the ragtime pianist right outside of Coke Corner. Yeah. And watching them perform, like it was usually like during slow times, I've noticed at Coke Corner that they performed, and I just got to watch them, and it was fun. I loved it.
Oh, I love that. I love that corner is just so sweet. Even
I'm
when you weren't
really,
working, we would just
yeah.
sit there and just it was so nice.
I'm so excited for like this Christmas because I really want to see the Dapper Dans like all dressed up.
Oh,
That's like my
Same.
favorite thing on Main Street is just seeing them perform. It's
I
beautiful.
agree. Wholeheartedly, I agree.
yeah. I'm gonna ask you not maybe a loaded question, but you can answer with as many as you want. But what is the best memory or takeaway from your DCP?
There's quite a lot.
There's a
Oh,
lot.
I'm
There's
sure,
a
yeah.
lot of memories. Like Halloween being the anniversary of when we accidentally threw like a huge party.
Yeah, I think
As
about
one
that
of the
all the time.
memories. Yeah, for real.
Yeah, that was incredible. I think about like the small things as well, like when we all went to get like the pumpkin cream cold brew after that came out. That was the inaugural year of the pumpkin cream cold brew.
Oh my gosh, I remember that. We drove to like 5 different Starbucks.
Yeah, because nobody had it.
It was all sold out so quick. I drove all over Southern California for a cold brew I didn't even have. So
Oh, yikes.
it was so much fun.
It was a time for sure. All of our like Raising Cane's nights, of course. Hanging out in our large, luxurious Carnegie Plaza apartment. Miss her every day.
I miss her all the time.
Yeah, I think it really, all of my best memories have to do with the people that I met there. Truly, like, I know that some people have DCP roommate horror stories, but I cannot.
We lucked out.
Yeah, I cannot say that I have them. I'm so thrilled with how everything turned out.
Oh, we had a really solid group. Everyone, I think, even those who either like left like early or like didn't even show up. Like everyone, like Lauren, Kelly, Cameron, Becca, all of it. Like we all got along so well. I still talk to Kelly all the time.
Yeah.
Like we just had like a really good like core group of women. So I know that we're fortunate. For sure. Yeah.
Very much are.
All right. Moment of truth. Here we go. Whitney, please tell us all of your guest horror stories on this fine Halloween evening.
Love to. So I have guest horror stories, and then I have horror stories about the job itself, which in some ways keep me up at night more than the guest horror stories. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So first and foremost, let's talk about water cups. So everybody knows. God, everybody knows that you can go to certain quick service restaurants and get a cup of ice water for free at Disneyland, and people love that because it means that they don't have to lug around their hydro flask, or they don't have to buy $4 water bottles in the park. They love the water cups. But some people, a certain subset of people, think that they skip the line privileges to get those water cups. And when you correct them and tell them that they don't in fact have skip the line privileges for a free item, they get pretty upset. Turns out. They get pretty darn mad. I've seen a myriad of things, both things said to me and things said to my coworkers. One of my coworkers was called racist for telling someone to go to the back of the line for a water cup.
That's my favorite story.
It's insane.
Disney, the happiest place on earth.
The happiest place on earth. It's all people that are like angry and they're mad and they're like hot. They're really hot because it's 90 degrees out and they haven't had water in 4 hours because they didn't bring a water bottle with them. It's all of them. There was a woman that came, she was very drunk. She had just come from DCA, and usually what they would do, like, so you have like the cashiers, obviously you have like the runners, and then at the very end you have like where the mobile orders come out, and it's usually whoever was putting out the mobile orders that always got the requests, and that's not Like we were told, like, tell them go to the back of the line. Like we can't do that. Like mobile order gets very busy. We can't just be doing water cups and mobile order. It just like it's going to screw everything up. So we usually, like, we had this drunk woman who started screaming at us because she was so drunk and she was dehydrated and she hadn't had water in hours, and why can't we just give her a water cup? We're standing right there next to the water fountain. Like just crazy entitled stuff like that.
People need to realize, like, this is your job. Like you it's a lot of work that you guys do every day. Like they have to realize how much like damage that does to you all the time.
Yes, exactly. Like having the same arguments with the same people over the same things, it gets old. It gets really
I don't blame
old.
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I do remember this one other specific instance where there was this family. Usually, like when a family of like more than 4 comes up, you know it's just going to be an absolute cluster. Like they're like talking amongst themselves, trying to figure out like what they're getting, how many of each thing they're getting. It's just messy. And so there's this family, this guy kept going back and forth on the amount of firefly chips that they wanted. And I was like, okay, so you want 2? He was like, no, I want 3. And I was like, okay, so you want 3 firefly chips? And he was like, no, just make it 2. I was like, okay, 2 firefly chips. So I put in 2. And then he goes down to the end, and when his 3rd firefly chips don't come out, he starts screaming, and then he comes down back at the end to me, comes back down to the other end to me, because I was at the opposite end of the counter, and starts like screaming about how stupid I am and how I missed 1 order of firefly chips that he told me that he wanted. So that was a great time for me. Really enjoyed
Jesus
that.
Christ.
Yeah. We laughed at the end of every workday though, like at the like 1 a.m. with Trader Joe's moose pumpkin mousse, like sitting there laughing because like God,
like, at the end
that's
of the
just
day,
crazy. Yeah,
it's better to laugh than cry, I guess.
Not to say that we didn't cry, because we did.
We did cry.
But
we definitely cried.
Yeah.
Those are the guest horror stories that kind of stuck with me. Obviously, there's little things here and there, like just in general, food service is so frustrating because people don't look at the menu until they're right there.
Right.
There's a lot of challenges that come along, especially working at like Coke Corner. Gibson Girl's a whole other beast, which I'll get to. But I would like to discuss the horrors of just working in food service at Disney.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's talk about it.
Absolutely, yes.
So I, once again, also worked at Gibson Girl. I don't bring them up as much because I hated Gibson Girl with every fiber of my being. So at Gibson, you either get cash if you're there for like a long shift, or you don't get cash and you get some other task. So at Gibson Girl, that could be stocking, it could be scooping ice cream, which was horrible, and it could be working in the waffle room. So the waffle room it should be classified as a war crime to put you in the waffle room because it is cruel and unusual punishment. Basically, it's this tiny room and it's easily 90 degrees in this room.
Oh my gosh.
There's 3 waffle irons there. And
oh no.
you have like 3 layers of gloves on your arms because safety is the first key. So you have 3 layers of gloves on your arms while you're in this 90-degree room.
Already in costume too.
In costume, making waffle cones. And at the time they were dyed different colors because the Mainstreet electrical parade was going on. So that was a great time. So
God.
my apron's like getting stained with this dyed batter. And then on top of it all, you have a window where people can look at you making waffle cones while you're like dripping sweat in this 90-degree room with 3 layers of gloves on your
I'm
hands.
so sorry. That is crazy.
It's horrifying. So that was awful. We don't talk about the waffle room. Cleaning the
we
waffle
hardly
room was
talked about
awful.
it.
Yeah, because it brings up terrible memories. And then scooping was another horrible thing. Gibson Girl gets busy. He gets busy, especially at night. And then the mobile orders, wow, insane. And I had stress dreams.
Oh no.
True. Stress dreams that came true, because I would be there like in front of my little scooping station and like elbows deep in ice cream, trying to scoop as fast as I can because there's literally like 6 orders on the screen that have to be scooped, like each one with like 3 cones each. And they just don't stop. At Disneyland, it doesn't stop. You don't really have slow periods. It just keeps coming. It keeps coming until they decide to break you. So like the really mean leads would put me there because they knew I hated it. And they were like, you'll be fine. You've scooped before. It's going to be chill. It was never chill. And then everyone ended up hating me because I was slow. So it was a horrible experience. 0 of 10. Would not recommend scooping at Gibson.
I'm glad that you got through it though. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I do have a question.
We're
like
out of
yeah, I know. Out of like everywhere that you could have gone, is there like another place that you'd be like thrilled to be at? Like if you weren't food and beverage, like attractions or like performing or.
Yes. If I did not end up with food and beverage, if I could choose, if I could choose to be anywhere, I would choose to work attractions and I would work at Splash Mountain.
Yes. Oh, should I tell her about what happened yeah. When I was during the hiring process, I almost worked at Splash Mountain.
Ooh.
I know. I was so excited because that's also my favorite attraction.
Incredible.
Got some Splash Mountain stands over here. Yes, ma'am. The only reason I went on it was because I love Whitney so much that I went on Splash Mountain with her every single time, multiple times.
I would be disappointed if you missed it anyway.
I know.
We can't have that. You have to go on Splash at least 3 times.
I went on it like 3 times a day for her. What do you think I'm going to do for you?
Well, I guess it's going to be at least 6.
Oh, Lord. Oh,
every
Lord.
hour.
He's kill
after
me.
every single ride, we're going to go back to Splash Mountain
keep
soaking
going
wet.
Through.
I mean, she's fine. She sits in the back anyway. It's all good.
Yeah.
She's not going to get wet.
We're back row people over here. You know,
I am definitely a back row person.
I would always sit back there with her and we would stick Aiden in the front. And then Derek would always be like, Aiden, did you get wet? And Aiden would like deadpan across to completely cover him.
Wow.
Oh, Lord. All right. Do you have any more stories, Whitney, that you'd like to share?
I have a third-hand story that I'd love to share.
Oh, please.
Oh, boy.
I think it's important to note that there are a lot of parents that are
crazy,
willing to, they're willing to let their kids be like thrown off of a roller coaster if they're too short just because they want to ride. So
yeah,
I heard this third hand through my roommate Madison, because she is now working in attractions.
Is she really?
Yeah, she's working at Small World right now. I know.
Oh, wait, babe. No, we're definitely going.
You have to.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So she told me a story that another attractions cast member told her. Okay. So at Indiana Jones, there's a height requirement, obviously. And again, some parents would rather have their kid fly out of Indiana Jones than miss Indiana Jones. So there was a family that somehow snuck a whole child through the line, like maybe hid them in their coat or something, they like snuck a whole child, and they were doing the counting, like the cast members were counting, and all of a sudden there was like a fourth kid there, and they were like, where did this kid come from? We didn't count him. Like, who is he?
I mean, impressive.
And impressive, I know, right?
That's cool.
They had to kick these people off the ride because they were like, your child is too short to ride this ride. What did you think was going to happen? Realistically, what did you think was going to happen? They count, like, what if it was exact and then your kid had nowhere to sit? Was he going to sit on your lap?
Clearly, where else would you put him?
Clearly.
You put him on the steering wheel.
Just yeet the kid into the temple of the forbidden eye, right into the fire. Yeah. The whole, see, this is the temple of doom part we were missing.
Oh,
that's what we needed.
Wow. That's fun.
I'm sorry.
You really just decided to jump into that one. All right.
I'm sorry. She brings this out in me all the time.
Oh, fun.
He's like, so what's her vibe? I'm like, you have to see it to believe it.
I know. I definitely have crackhead energy. I don't know where it comes from.
What happens when we get together?
They really said you'd be stuck in the gates of doom.
Oh my God. I have a secondhand story about Monsters Inc. Just like in general, like the hills terrifying. The hills that people are willing to die on. I never told you this. Like, people are really willing to die on Monsters Inc. Like, that's the hill. Like,
oh my God.
Okay, the Sully animatronic is terrifying.
People have like lost their like items and have jumped out of the cab to get it and then gotten banned.
Did you hear about what happened on Small World last week?
Oh yeah, where like a dude,
the guy like jumped off like the second. No, we didn't really go over it. The guy jumped off like the second story of Small World, jumped straight into the water just to get his phone.
You're absolutely joking.
No, I'm serious.
No, not at all.
Like
I'll send you the link.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
I thought we reported it. Yeah, that happened. There was also at Monsters, what they also tend to do is they're like, no, it's fine. We can like count our own party. And like the cast members looking and they're like, that's definitely 15 of you and this car fits 8.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, no, we can just fit ourselves in. It's fine.
Dude, no, you can't.
It'd be like that.
No, you cannot. Does anyone else have any guest horror stories? Because I have one more. I have one.
I could probably think of some.
I have one. Because the last time we did an episode, I couldn't think of any, and then I remember this one distinctly. For your favorite parade, my love, Paint the Night.
Did someone get one over?
Paint the Night horror story. So I wish.
Dang.
That's so
sad.
My sister and I decided to stay till the 10 p.m. showing. It was one of my first like closing days where I had stayed till closing. And I realized how fun it was because there was no kids. So my sister and I decided to like, after Phantasmic, just like get over to Mainstreet and just sit. Fireworks got canceled because it was windy. So we just sat there and we just waited for Paint the Night, and people started slowly to kind of gather once they realized there was another showing, and the whole curb was taken up. Like people who were at the front were sitting. And so we're, comfy sitting on the curb, and cast members come by and they ask anyone who's not on the curb to stand up. And there was a woman, her child is sitting in front of her, like probably like 10 years old, sitting in front of her. And the cast member said, it's time for you to stand up. She did not like that one bit. All she had to do was stand behind her child. She was not a fan, to say the least. And she was screaming at this cast member for all of Mainstreet to hear for about 5 minutes, telling him that he was incompetent and that she deserved some kind of financial compensation for standing. So he said, you know what, let me look into that. And she's standing there tapping her foot, waiting for him to, he comes back with a sticker. And she's like, okay.
All right.
Happy as a clam with her little sticker. And then, he moved on and it was all good.
Are people not embarrassed? They should be
I know
embarrassed.
they really should be more embarrassed. It was interesting to watch, to say the least.
Oh my
I
God.
mean, the worst that I've seen was I saw a guy try to fight a cast member and like get physically aggressive with him over mask.
Oh, yeah.
Like almost punching the cast member in the face. Thank God that it didn't go that far, but yeah.
I can only imagine what it's like now. Yeah.
I mean, the only real like crazy stories that I have aren't really to do with like cast members or guests. It's just situations that happen because of life. Like I was there the day that the dragon caught on fire.
Oh,
do you remember that?
I remember
in Florida,
that, yeah.
the whole like dragon. Yeah, I was there. I saw it in the middle of Liberty Square, like just straight
he was
up
also there.
Fire.
Whitney, he was also there for the Toontown tussle.
You're kidding.
Tussle.
Oh my God.
He was there.
I'm obsessed.
In
I know.
Toontown
Yeah, no, I was
during the
there.
tussle.
It was
I
crazy.
know everything about the Toontown tussle.
It was exciting. Yeah, I just got off of Roger Rabbit, and there was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I think the scariest thing that I've seen though was I was at Disney during a thunderstorm. So everything was like it wasn't really shut down, but like everything was in the process of like closing for the day. And I was on, I think it was Pirates of the Caribbean, and the lightning struck Pirates of the Caribbean and the entire show building shut off.
Ooh.
Oh my.
And it was like right after the drop, so everything that's like bioluminescent in there just turned black. And there was, you couldn't see anything. It was terrifying, and like all the audio stopped. All you could hear was the water and the pitch dark. It was terrifying. It was absolutely, it was chilling. Like
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh no, not when you with the skeletons coming up. I would have cried.
Yeah.
I would
like
have started
we were still
to cry.
floating because it's a water ride, so you're still constantly moving. So yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It was a time.
Oh Lord.
Happy Halloween. That's your horror story.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
There you go. Do you want to cut and then we can